Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spomele Lizondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that if you want to be a part of our tech conversation, it is SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za. This week, our Twitter poll is asking what you do when your favorite social networking sites are down. This as Instagram and WhatsApp have often been down of late. Results of that are coming up later in the program. But first, here's what's coming up tonight. We find out about a skills initiative that gives tech skills to young women. We attend the launch of a new device and find out about the device as well. In our discussion, producer Lebo Sijake chats to Becky Mosete from Liquid Telecom about jobs of the future. Kagaza Girl is an initiative that aims to train women with tech skills, but it identifies women who are already studying towards professions in the technology sector. I spent some time with the 2019 cohort. They were at the Makerspace in Durban. These young women sacrificed some of their time to gain more experience in the tech fields they're studying towards.
We needed them to see how it's like to work, what it's like to build, what it's like to make, understanding the maker movement and space, so that besides the fact that they walk out of university with a degree or diploma, they actually have the practical knowledge, the know-how, and what's required of them in industry. Kagaza Girl Industry Immersion specifically is designed for university girls.
I feel it's actually really helpful for us, especially as women, because we want to grow in this industry. There are not many of us, even though we are growing rapidly, but we also want to be learning new things, and so we will be able to teach other young women like us who want to aspire to be technicians or developers, to also be able to see that there could be many other spheres you can tap into as a young woman.
At the Makerspace, they got their hands dirty a little bit.
Makerspace is all about making things, and we want to teach them how to use their technical skills to solve real-world problems. We're teaching them how to build an IoT device, Internet of Things, LAT, and they're going to be able to program that and control that from their phone, which is pretty exciting because, I mean, who doesn't want to control their lights from their phone?
They have been given 3 months membership to access the space, something they say they will be using wisely.
I'm so excited. I am gonna come obviously because I still need to know more. At school they don't have like these machines that we use here. We only see them on our textbooks only, so to experience them it will be such an experience.
I'm doing IT, so it's mainly more about like developing softwares and applications. It's not about actually the software part interacting with the hardware, you know, like with our everyday life materials that we use, like microwaves. And here, for instance, and also other, I think it's cupcake. This is creating cupcakes, right? Yes. Just imagine that without having to use the icing on with your hands, but you can just take the laser machine that is going to put the ice cake on your cupcake for you.
This is all in an effort to lower the male-female divide in the tech sector.
So the girls today are getting to engage the makerspace movement and the Internet of Things, essentially understanding what Africa 4.0 is and how it works and why it is that they need to be participating in the fourth industrial revolution.
During this Kagaza Girl Industry Experience program, the young women will be spending time with corporates and at tech spaces. Moebisetona would watch his grandmother walking long distances to receive municipal services in Wakwa. Once at municipal offices, she would then spend long hours standing in queues. This made him develop an app called Let's Talk. It's now received a United Nations award. Let's Talk has also been picked up by some municipalities here in South Africa.
Let's Talk was built essentially from my research that I did in the Free State, where I shadowed the mayor and his councillors over 36 months, and where I witnessed, personally with my grandmother, where she was struggling to get information straight from the clinic into the house, essentially around medication schedules. She was a diabetes individual, and it was difficult for me to. I remember times where we should send me out to go collect medication on her behalf because she couldn't reach to the clinic, being that it's a walking distance. And when I got to the clinic and we stood in a long queue for quite some time, and only to find out when I was my turn that it wasn't the day for her to collect the medication, and she was ran out of medication already. And when I went back home, it was sad for me to actually to tell her that I've got no medication for you today because the schedule was not for today for collection. And thinking about that as well while I was shadowing the mayor and witnessing a lot of gaps within communication and essentially around informing people, informing candidates, especially your adult citizens, that are the most precious citizens within the community. It was hard for them to reach out and to get information. So that's where personally that initiative came from, and Let's Talk was or is built behind the principle of Batubili. And this principle is about access of information. The mobile app has main three functionalities are your chat, so directly communication into the ward councillor, directly into the mayor's office, to the speaker's office. So essentially it's a personalized communication which is ward-based. And we've got a functionality around ratings, where it's an ability for citizens to be able to rate services that they've received before from the municipality that they want to receive in future, and also rating the quality of services essentially when they're going to attend, be it at a clinic, be it at a school. And essentially we've got then the last functionality, which is quite key, is an alert functionality. So that alert essentially is about reporting issues from the ground. So I'm able to report pothole leaks. I'm able to report shortages of electricity. I'm also able to report issues that actually are faced within the community as a large.
Often you'd hear people saying that there's very little that differentiates smartphones from one another. Surely that's not true. Producer Sandile Hlangani attended the launch of a new smartphone in Johannesburg. He tells us all about it.
We're launching the new Galaxy Note 10 and Note 10 Plus.
We are listening what South African consumers want, what do they need. Based on that, we redefine our strategy and our product, and then reflect what our consumers say.
We target what you call the new worker tribe. These are people who juggle multiple careers. Sometimes they've got maybe 2 or 3 jobs at the same time, and they are very demanding because they demand high level of productivity within their phones.
It makes my life so much easier, especially because within the fashion industry, as a fashion editor, I get a lot of PDFs that I have to sign while I'm outside of the office, so the art director will send it to me. So one, that's going to work for me. 2, makes it easy for me to find clothes because I'm also a stylist. So it's going to make it easy for me if I'm at Woolworths in Sandton, they don't have something there and I need it for a shoot, I can be able to find it. And also the picture quality. I mean, I live in a world where picture is absolutely everything.
The big thing is the memory. It's got 12 gigabytes of RAM memory. It's got a big screen, 6.8. And actually the nice thing, it's got now available in 2 sizes. 6.3-inch screen and 6.8-inch screen, and also the very strong processor.
With the S Pen, you can move the slide, and you can move to the next the camera. You can pull pro-graded camera, which we call audio zoom. Audio zoom means if you are taking a video and zoom in for a certain specific person, then you will hear only that person's voice and what he is saying. Consumers want a more easy ecosystem with the smartphone. They don't want to waste of their time or embarrass to understand the function of the phone. So we make Galaxy Note 10 and 10 Plus more eco-friendly.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, producer Lebo Sejake chats to Becky Mosetle about jobs of the future.
On Full View, the end of the day means unpacking the day's events. We recap all major news stories from around the world.
The African Union's decision to suspend Sudan's membership was made by the AU Peace and Security Council.
It was a unanimous decision. We said we'll give them up to 60 days.
And have in-depth discussions on what's happening in our country.
This economy, for it to grow, you need people that will be working in order for them to be able to have the buying power.
We stay on the visuals, they're busy shooting.
We drove around this.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome back. As we continue our celebration of women in the technology space, let's meet Dr. Rufaro Nyamunda. She has developed an app that promotes health in schools.
90 days to share her knowledge and share her Brain Child app with various schools, also handing over first aid kits. The Keep Safe app is said to be the perfect digital nurse. The app will not only educate little people on how to handle several emergencies, but also aid schools and the Department of Education to see causes of absenteeism.
So the app, the idea behind it is to create safer school communities, and that we want schools to not feel helpless when they need resources to manage the health, wellness and safety of their learners and of their staff.
The 3-month sabbatical was made possible through a competition that the young doctor had entered.
So we believe, let's find out if there's people who would use, if we gave them time, that would use it to the better of other people, to the better of the country, and that's where the initiative was started. We had over 1,300 entries into that program, and Dr. Rufaro's by far stood out as a phenomenal campaign.
Children as young as 5 years old can be educated with basic first aid concepts through the app. The training has been done in an interactive manner. Dr. Nyamunda's goal is to ensure that children, educators and school staff are able to handle first aid and remain calm in emergency situations.
People have responded to us has been incredibly positive. We've had schools who reached out to us and have been like, we don't know how many asthmatics we have, we don't know how many children with diabetes, and worse off, if one of these children has an attack or something happens, we don't know what to do. And they haven't been provided with any training or anything that would help them manage these conditions. And even things like breakouts in school, when there's a flu that's going around or something else that's going around, the schools don't have any way of communicating this with parents and with others. So there's a lot that they've found quite valuable in the product, and there's a lot that they found quite meaningful.
The founder is still looking to create more partnerships to ensure that every scholar and every teacher is educated with how to handle emergency accidents. Ifwe Poti, SABC News, Port Elizabeth.
Producer Lebo Sejake caught up with Becky Mosetle from Liquid Telecom. They chatted about many things, including jobs of the future.
Now, to speak more on the importance of digital skills as well as jobs of the future is Liquid Telecom's head of HR, Miss Becky Mosetle. Hi ma'am, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you,
Great. When we talk about acquiring digital skills, what is it exactly do we mean? Being able to use a computer is enough?
Digital is really about anything that is connected, that communicates, or that is powered by internet. Without internet, you really can't talk digital. You see it in what people talk about cloud computing, where you now don't need many servers in the organization. You have things sitting in cloud, Amazon being a classical example, to robotics, to artificial intelligence, to big data, etc. That's digital. Now, for you to be able to then start talking digital skills, you really start talking about deep programming skills. You then also start talking about data analytics, cybersecurity. So it's those very, one could say, hardcore skills. You can have basic coding skills and still be able to get away in the digital world.
Can we get some examples of digital skills? What exactly do people need to sort of have and upskill themselves with?
It depends on how far down you want to be. If you want to be a data scientist, certainly you would need maths and engineering. Or if you want to be have deep program skills, you would certainly have to go the STEM route. But if you're wanting to still add value as a communication specialist, as an HR specialist, a little bit of coding, a little bit of analytics would enable you to be able to participate and add value in the digital economy.
So one of the concerns about this digital era is the concern of job losses.
It is true, it's going to create more jobs, but of course it's different skill set. Particularly your blue collar work, or where it's machinery, then there's potential risk of job losses because robotics can do that. However, there are also certain roles that you would always need a person. There are going to be job losses, and we encourage people to really start understanding what 4IR means and start seeing how they can actually acquire new skills, especially youth and people that are still, in the early phases of their career. They still have lots and lots of opportunities to acquire new skills. These days, again, because of the internet, you can actually access training and skills free of charge. And I know there's a debate in terms of, is it really free? Of course you need to have a device, and of course you need to have data to be able to access that. You can just build on what you have through YouTube, through TED Talks, and various other platforms. But try also, as I said, the platform that Liquid has just launched, because that's also free.
It is Women's Month after all, and the focus is on women. What are some of the things that we can do to sort of boost women participation in this digital economy?
As government, as business, as parents, we need to encourage our girls to really challenge themselves and go maths, go science, go engineering, and really start participating through education first. And then I think that it was Minister Angie Motshekga who mentioned that they would also be looking at introducing coding and robotics at school. So those are important. So as parents of young girls, get them to sign up for that. Then let's talk about women that are already in the workplace. Your program should start looking at the coding skills, the programming skills, creativity, problem solving, and other skills that really, really encourage women to start moving towards the direction of technology.
Now, it's common knowledge that our STEM or maths and science literacy levels are abysmal. Now, what are some of the hanging fruits that we can take advantage of in the short term in order to bridge this digital skills divide?
Some low-hanging fruit is we've got some people that are actually willing to impart the knowledge to those that are hungry for that knowledge. If you are a engineer student, if you are a maths student, a medical student, and you wanting to really contribute to the society, help those young stars by tutoring them and helping them, particularly with maths and science. And there's also another skill that I have to mention because it's quite key now in the digital era. It's the artistic skills. So from communication, from creative writing, from storytelling, those are now becoming quite important because, for example, as a data analyst, it's one thing receiving the data and analyzing it. You still need to go speak to the CEO, the board of director, or the CFO to actually tell them the insights that are in that data and sell to them what that data is telling them to help them make the decision. But I think the other low-hanging fruits is, and I'm now talking to companies, they've got CSI, as in corporate social investment programs. Use that spend to provide and enable schools so that they can have the right teachers that can actually be able to acquire the knowledge that they need to impart to the learners. Work with these up-and-coming entrepreneurs that have just completed their studies, they've got all these big ideas, they just need support, whether it's financial support or non-financial support. Please support them through your ESD program. Collaborate with universities on R&D, etc.
All right. Thank you. It was such a pleasure having you. That was a mammoth of information. I'm so grateful that you joined us on Network.
Hello, Sanbonani, this is Mutiha and I'm a musician. My favorite gadget in the whole world is a microphone, and that's obviously because of what I do for a living. I love the fact that I'm able to project myself and basically speak to people's souls. Yeah, thank you, Michael.
Here at the SABC, the whole issue of women's empowerment, I think, has basically been laid to bed. I have a female boss, my boss's boss is female, my boss's boss's boss is female as well. And I think this really changes things when women and men who maybe had an old-fashioned mindset see other women in key posts of leadership who see women being efficient, capable, amazing, and not thinking of how to try and be like men. I have had incredible opportunities and I'm grateful and I hope I've been part of that change, and I wish that women of younger generations had the same opportunities and more. The only thing I think we need to do as women is have more confidence. Grab opportunities sometimes. Believe in yourself.
SABC News celebrates Women's Month.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the technology space.
These are young filmmakers using a smartphone and a tripod made from a broken microphone stand to create a science fiction film. These days, sci-fi films are made using sophisticated software, but the movie created by these boys uses everyday recycled items, and their works have made them into social media darlings.
Well, the main aim was not for our stuff to go viral. We just wanted people to see that, okay, there are kids in Kaduna doing something different. So that was just the main aim. So it all of a sudden just happening, it blew our mind. It made us happy.
The critics, as the crew of 8 calls themselves, made their first film, Redemption, in 2016. They stayed for a month to buy the green fabric for the chroma key and taught themselves how to do visual effects by watching tutorials on YouTube. Battling slow internet and power cuts, they created a tale about 2 boys who created an organic biofuel. And now in China. Tech giant Huawei unveiled its new operating system, Harmony OS, this week. The company says that the OS is a lightweight, compact operating system with powerful functions.
Harmony OS is not designed just for smartphone, but for all the smart devices. So we have the capability to make this is our OS is for the next generation OS, the leading technology for the new generation, next generation OS. So it's kind of running for all the smart devices, all AI, all the smart devices. We want it to be a global standard, not just Huawei is Harmony OS. It's a worldwide, the global Harmony OS is for everyone.
Harmony operating system was launched at the company's developers conference in Dongguan City, South China's Guangdong province. And now in Kenya. Chinese electronics company Xiaomi launched its second Kenyan Mi store in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, as it continues to expand in the Kenyan market. Xiaomi opened its first Mi Home in Kenya on July 14th, and many of their products were sold out quickly. The store will provide Kenyans with not only the popular Xiaomi smartphones, but also to a wide range of the company's other electronic products.
As Instagram and WhatsApp have been down quite a bit of late, this week our Twitter poll is asking you what you do when your favorite social networking sites are not working. 14% of you say you send SMSs when this happens. There's 23% of you who say you use other social networks. And 18% of you say you make calls. And a whopping 45% of you say, well, it's not really important. And that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. From me and the rest of the team, have a good one. Bye-bye.